Very good evening, everyone. I'm Shilpa, moderator for this webinar, and I welcome you all to today's session where we are going to discuss CAT preparation tips. Well, feel free to share your questions in the chat box or in the Q&A box. I have kept it open for everyone, and I will try to get your queries answered by our CAT expert. Today with us, we have Sai Praneeth. I heartily welcome you to today's session. Sai, you can unmute yourself.
Thank you. Thank you.
Praneeth, I would request you to give us your brief introduction so that we could know you better.
Yeah. So I did my undergraduation from IIT Madras in electrical engineering, and I passed out in 2018. And in 2017, I was the CAT 100 percentiler. And since then, for the past 4 years, I have been working with Cisco systems, and I am currently applying for MBA abroad as well.
Thank you, Praneeth, for that brief introduction. And Manjeet, very good evening. And if you have any questions, please feel free to send your questions in the chat box or in the Q&A box. And this information is for everyone. As we have CAT 100 percentiler with us, so first thing we would like to know is what is the difficulty level of CAT exam and its section for that matter?
Yeah, okay. Compared to other tests, I would say it's at the top 5%, you can say, I guess. Coming to the sections, I attempted CAT twice, like in 2017 and 19. In both years, I felt that it changes from year to year. But what the pattern I noticed is that they are purposefully keeping one section very difficult, another section moderate, and one section easy. So I noticed that in the 2 years that I attempted. Coming to DILR, right? I felt that DILR is something that the CAT exam setters are making it very hard, and quant is something that I felt could have been harder, but it's relatively easy, and English varies from hard to moderate. But overall, it's not an easy exam, but if you prepare for it, you can easily crack it.
Praneeth, you said about the changes, right? So the exam authority keep bringing up some changes, right?
Correct.
So are there any important changes in the CAT examination over the years? And maybe you would like to show some guidance on this?
Yes, there has been a major change. Previously, it used to be 100 questions for 300 marks in 3 hours. The current pattern is that it has been reduced to 66 questions, 198 marks, and the exam is only 2 hours with 40 minutes for each section. So that has been a major change in terms of the length for which you need to sit in the exam, and also you have to now refine your time management, right? Since it has been reduced to 40 minutes for each section. So these are the two things.
Praneeth, I'll be asking you a follow-up question on the time management, but I'll be asking that later. But before that, if you could just guide us on the marking scheme for the CAT exam and what mistakes we should avoid.
For CAT exam has two kinds of questions, MCQs and fill in the blank, you can say. For the MCQs, the marking is +3, and if you get it correct, and if you get it wrong, it's -1.
Okay.
But for non-MCQs, there is no negative marking, and if you get it correct, it's +3, and if you don't get it correct, then there is nothing. There's no issue with that. So you can happily guess for the non-MCQs. But for the MCQs, you have to be careful, and you have to be prepared on how you want to approach, because you don't want to get too many negative marks by guessing. So that is something we'll have to manage.
Thank you, Praneeth, for answering that. Next up, Madhushri has a question to ask, and she wants to ask how to prepare well for CAT examination.
Yeah, good question. So we'll go section wise. First, let's start with VARC. So out of the 24 questions that we have in VARC, I think up to about 70% of them are reading comprehensions, and remaining 25 to 30% is the grammar, you can say, different types of questions. So because of that, it's better to focus on the reading comprehension, because you master one aspect of verbal and you'll get maximum marks. In the other questions, there can be different types of questions. It can be sentence correction, or it can be para jumble. There are different variants, and you can practice everything, but it takes a lot more time for little questions than if you focus more on reading comprehension, because that constitutes almost 70% of the marks, right? So that is something I would suggest, to focus on reading comprehension. And how to prepare, I would say, to start with, take a reading speed test, because you have to do it in 40 minutes. So reading speed becomes critical, and reading speed is important. But what along with that, what's important is your ability to grasp with that speed. If you just read it and don't remember anything, there is no point, right? So you have to manage that. And to improve your reading speed and your ability to grasp, what one can do is that you can start reading articles, newspapers, if you don't already do that. And and another thing I would suggest is, when it comes to reading comprehension, the passages can be on different areas. So it can be a science paragraph, it can be related to psychology, it can be related to arts. And each of us, depending on our backgrounds, will have a comfortable area. So since most of the, at least me, I was an engineer. Science is something that was easy to understand and read for me. If a paragraph comes in psychology or literature, then that becomes hard. Once you find out which areas you are comfortable in and which areas you are struggling with, then you can say, I struggle in psychology. Then I can go online or find any book and read things on that, so that I get familiar with the common terminology, and also my understanding of psychology becomes a little bit better, so that I'll be able to read it fast and also grasp it. So, and after doing that, I would also suggest, as you read topic by topic, practicing parallelly will also help, so that to refine those skills right away. And once you have done this and you feel that you have mastered the reading comprehension, and you still have time to prepare on English, then you can go for the other aspects, parajumbles, sentence correction, vocabulary, and everything. If you don't, I think it's fine to leave it. But if you have time, you can. And coming to logical reasoning and data interpretation, I would say, start with basics there, but there is not much you can read in that. It's more about how much you practice. And like, you can't really, it's not like maths, so you can't remember a formula and then do it. So for reading comprehension, sorry, for logical reasoning and data interpretation, the best way is, practice different models, and in the exam, whatever question will come, that would be, if not the same model, it will be a similar model to what you would have practiced. So lots and lots of practice I would suggest for DILR. And coming to quant, I would say, at least something that has worked really well for me is going chapter by chapter. Um, if you are like, if you can remember everything you read, then learn all the formulas. If you think you can't remember, then note them down while you read. And also, once you're done with the chapter, practice them, so that you, like, it's not just by hearting the formulas, but you understand why the formulas are being used, and that way it will be a lot more easy for you to remember, and it would be effective as well in the exam. Yeah, I those are the tips I would suggest for each section on how to
Okay.
prepare. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Praneeth, for guiding us on marking scheme and mistakes we should avoid, section-wise preparation, and how we can improve reading speed. And Preeti has a similar question, how to improve reading speed. So I hope now, Preeti, you have the answer of your question. Also, Praneeth guided us on reading comprehension, and yes, he talked about section-wise preparation. Madhushri, also your question, how to prepare well for CAT, he has guided on that as well. Next up, we have a question from Vaibhav Jain. He is asking, which section should I attempt? I think he wants to ask, which section should I attempt first?
Okay. As far as I know, you can't really choose which section you want to attempt because each section has 40 minutes time limit and you have to attempt them in the order, that is verbal, logical reasoning, and quant. But if you meant to ask which section that I should focus on, then I would say first take a mock test if you haven't already. See which section you're strong in and which section you're weak in. And I would say spend more time on the weaker section. So if you're weak in verbal and if you're really strong in maths, then you can spend 50% of the time in verbal and say 10 to 20% in maths.
Okay, Praneeth, we have received a question from Tushar. Tushar is saying, hello. Hi, Tushar. I just want to know how to start the preparation for CAT. Should we carry all three sections simultaneously, or there's any other tips that you would like to share? I think you have answered all the questions, but maybe if you want to add more details to it, then you can.
Yes, I will. So it really depends on your personal comfort. So some people like to prepare parallelly. Some people are comfortable with taking a section and finishing it off in few days and then moving on to other. So I would say there is no one good approach. So figure out what works best for you and what you're comfortable with. Say if you say usually you prepare 6 hours a day, that is the time you have. And if you are comfortable with doing one session at a time and you're able to do it continuously for 6 hours without dropping your productivity, then you can go for that. Or if you think doing 2 hours 2 hours will help you refresh your mind, then you can do that. So there is nothing wrong in either of the approach. It's just what you feel will help you get most out of your time.
The next up, we have a question. I think even you can see one of the question in the chat box. Manjeet Kumar has this question. I'm not able to score well in RC. After a lot of practice, what should I do?
Yeah, hi Manjit. So just as I was saying about reading speed, practice is good, but you also need to strengthen your basics before you practice. So I would suggest, as I was saying, see which passages you are struggling with. So some of us struggle with arts passages, some of us are good at science passages. It varies. So see which passages you are scoring well and which passages you are particularly struggling in. So once you find those areas in which you are struggling, then you can take up reading material in those areas. And as you read, you can also parallelly practice those particular paragraphs so that it not only helps in improving your understanding of the topic, it also the reading part also helps in improving your reading speed. So once you improve your reading speed and also your ability to grasp that particular topic without having to come back to the para for every question that you read, so that can help you.
Okay, Praneeth, you're welcome, Manjeet. I hope your question has got the perfect reply. And next up, I have a follow-up question, Praneeth. You said that actually you suggested to Manjeet that you should work on strengthening your basics.
Yeah.
If I am doing my preparation from the scratch, I'm doing self-preparation. So the first question is how to start self-preparation for the CAT examination? And also, if you can just add up how to strengthen basics simultaneously.
Even if it is self preparation, you would be using some kind of material to prepare from, right? So you can use that as your starting point. For English, you don't really need material, because newspapers, articles online, any books, everything can serve as your basic for the reading comprehension. And for practice, you'll need something because you need questions, right? So that, I think there are many avenues for that, either books or just taking a, say, time or IIMs. There are packages without classes just for mock tests and practices. You can take those.
Kind of crash courses?
Crash course involves teaching also, right? This is just the, if you don't want to invest in teaching, then you can just take the practice part of it. Or even if you buy any CAT preparation books, there will be many questions. So for English, you can do that. For the practice part, it's the same for other two sections as well. And when coming to quants, I would say pick up some book for CAT preparation. They will have mentioned most of the formulas that come in CAT and the theory behind it. So you can use that as your base. For LRDI, same thing, but LRDI requires more practice than the other sections.
So Praneet, I have a follow-up question. You said that pick up some books, right? So
Yeah.
as a part of preparation, which books should I refer to for, let's say, for quant, for verbal ability, and for the logical reasoning?
Uh, there
If
are
you
many books.
remember.
There are many books, but something that was popular was Arun Sharma during my time. I think it is still popular. And if you just Google what are the best preparation books for CAT, you'll find Arun Sharma and different authors. And if there are samples available online, you can see which book you feel is delivering to your requirements more, and then take that up. So some people would want more theory and some people would want more practice. So depending on those requirements, by going through the reviews of the books or things like that, you can pick something. And I also noticed shiksha.com has a article on that, which are the best books for CAT preparation. Maybe we can share that link in the chat as well if required.
Thank you, Praneet, for answering that. For sure, I'll share the link in the chat box so that everyone can access it. But before that, I have a question. Is it a good idea to prepare for CAT section wise? Let's say for all the sections you just talked about for 1 month. And then we can skip to the next section for the same time duration, for the similar duration. Which are the most scoring topics according to you?
Okay. So you are saying 1 month maths, 1 month verbal, like that, right? Yeah. I mean, I necessarily wouldn't recommend that because if you prepare for maths this month, DI next month, verbal next month, when
Hmm.
it comes to the fourth month, you might have forgotten what you did in maths, and that kind of causes a bit of productivity delay.
Hmm.
So going parallelly, like few days each, I would suggest, because it also helps you in attempting mock tests, because
Okay.
you are doing it parallelly for every test. You can take mock tests time to time and see that your scores are improving.
Okay. Praneeth, if you're just talking about score, we have a follow-up question on that. How do I increase my score in verbal ability in CAT? Given that only 90 days are left until the CAT, what should be my strategy? So this is a question one student want to ask you.
Yeah, so this is something I can relate to because 90 days prior to my CAT exam, I was failing in verbal mock tests. Like I was not even scoring 30%. So what I did is So the same thing that I have been telling, right? See what areas I am not good in, what kind of passages, pick them up one by one, um, read material on it, and parallelly practice. And so that has helped me. And the another most important part of preparation, rather than all these things, is the mock tests. So once you are I mean, I won't even say once you're comfortable, but at any point of time, you can keep taking mock tests. Like, say, if there is more than 6 months left, 3 to 6 months or more, then you can take a mock test every 2 weeks to just get a feel for your progress. And if you're coming into the last 1 month, then I would say you would have gotten your exam dates and time slots as well, right? Say if you have the morning slot, then at least in the last 2 weeks, I would suggest taking mock test every day and in the exact same slot of your CAT exam. Say if your CAT exam is 9 to 12, then get used to that. Take mock test 2 weeks prior to that every day from 9 to 12. And taking mock test is not just enough. Like the biggest improvement in score you can achieve is through reviewing your mock tests rather than the basics are important, but once you are good with your basics and you still need to improve your scores, then taking mock tests, reviewing each and every one of your mistakes and making sure that you learn the concept there and never make that mistake again, that really helps in boosting your score.
Okay. So sometimes back, Praneet was talking about the link I need to provide you guys. I have mentioned that in the chat box. It has all the details related to examination date, the registration criteria, syllabus, pattern, preparation, important books, and even the PYQs and some mocks. And moving ahead, next up we have a question, Praneet. How to prepare for logical reasoning section in CAT, as it feels like the most difficult section. So can you just share insight on this, and also if you could just share your experience, your way of preparing for the same section.
Every section has its own theory. When it comes to logical reasoning, it's kind of limited, but it's still there. We'll have different models, permutations and combinations, circles, arrangements. So I would say go topic by topic. First, understand what each type is about and what are the basic things associated with it. And then do a lot of practice. Practice various types of problems because like practicing various types of problems will help you understanding each like different models that can come in your exam, and it will also keep your skill set broad because we don't know what kind of questions can come in the exam. And if you practice a lot, then I'm pretty sure that anything that comes will be close to what you would have practiced, if not the exact same model. And just practicing is not enough. While you're practicing, make sure that you understand each question and how to approach them. So that will help you easily crack the other types of similar questions that come in the test.
Thank you, Praneet, for answering that. And considering the time we are left with, I'm launching a poll to understand whether this session is helpful to you or not. So I hope you all can see the poll I have launched just now. And I would request you all to please poll so that we can understand whether you are liking this session or not. And then in the near future, we can plan more webinar to help you further. So the question one, I hope you can see whether you like this session or not. You can answer it with a yes or no. And the question two is like, will you recommend this Shiksha webinar to anyone? Rate from 1 to 10. 1 is being less likely and 10 being the highest. I would request you all to kindly poll. And meanwhile, Praneet, I guess we can take few more questions.
Yeah, sure.
So the next up we have question, what should be my approach and CAT percentile to get into IIM?
Yeah, that really depends. based on if you have any type of reservation or not. For open category, if you want to get a call from IIM ABC, I think you would need 99.9 or closer. And for different categories, the numbers vary. That I can't exactly tell. But yeah, for open category, I think it would be 99.9 if you are aiming for ABC. For other colleges, it will be a little bit lower. But you can find those details for each category from the previous years online.
So, Praneeth, if you could just guide us on one of the common question most of the students who are preparing for CAT do ask, how many hours should we study as being a CAT aspirant? And
Mm,
that if you could just tell us study per day.
got it.
Yeah.
So the first thing that depends is how many months you have left, and the other thing is that what is your current situation, I would say. What is your current strengths and weaknesses? How good are you scoring already? And what is your target score? So if you are, if you feel after taking your first mock test that you need to improve in all three sessions, that too tremendously, then I would say you would need at least 6 months with uh, 2 months each, even if it's a 2 months each for each section, and that would require six 6 hours preparation a day. But if you feel you are good in one section already and you need to improve the other two, then that comes down a bit. So, and it also depends on your target scores, like how big of an improvement you want. But yes, like assuming that we need to improve in all sections tremendously, I would say 6 months with 6 hours a day, and that involves taking mock tests and reviewing the mock tests, and if you want to attend any classes, things like that.
Praneeth, I think the next question we do have could be a challenging one for you
Yeah.
because you are just talking about 6 months, whereas Nidhi is asking that I'm starting CAT preparation from scratch and I have only a month to prepare. I'm confused how to cover such vast syllabus.
Hmm. So if there is only 1 month, then I would say I initially stick to the theory, uh, improve your reading speed, and get a hold of all the formulas in mathematics, and even the basic understanding of how to attempt each LRDI section, each LRDI passage, right? And that will give you most out of your 1 month time. And if you have done with that and still have time, then I would suggest take some mock tests in the last few days and understand each of those mistakes that you're making, so that the mock tests really help you in, get most out of your time. I think that's the best way to put, because there are different types of questions that will come, that for which you might not find the theory in most books. And so this really helps you in learning that concept in just 5 minutes or less. So mock tests can really help you once you got the basics covered to get that score boost. But if you are aiming for a good score, then I would say, if if you don't really have to attempt, I mean, you can attempt it this year, but if next year is an option for you, then I would say you can consider that option as well.
So considering the time, Praneeth, I think we should start taking questions more quickly. Next up, we have a question.
Yeah.
How should a working professional go about preparing for the CAT 2022 exam to score above 99 plus percentile?
Go about preparing in the sense of the how to prepare, or
I mean, that
time.
person is already working somewhere. So, how that person can simultaneously prepare for this year CAT examination and score 99 plus percentile?
Yeah, so I have recently taken GMAT and I have done that while working itself. So what I did is I work for the usual 8 hours, say 10 to 6, or depending on the timings. And after that, it's not easy to start straight away. Take some half an hour, 1 hour gap, and then you can start preparing in the night, say from 7 to when are you sleep. And also, if you are someone who wakes up early, then you can prepare for 1 2 hours in the morning. And weekends would be your best friend if you are a working professional.
Next up, Praneeth, if you could just guide us on for those students whose quant is completely, they feel that they are so weak in quant.
Yeah.
Can they still get good colleges with the CAT score, whatever score they will be getting in the entrance examination? Because we have received a similar question from the students.
Yeah, the thing that matters is your total percentile. There is cutoffs for each section as well. As long as you are above that cutoff in the section and your total percentile is good, you will get calls. And coming to quant is one of the easy, like of the three sections. I think it's the easiest to improve because if you take 1 2 weeks time and make sure you understand and have all the formulas on your fingertips, so that will really help you improve your score dramatically.
Praneeth, apart from just remembering those formulas, are there any other way to improve, like
Yes,
other tips and tricks
not
in
just
quant?
remembering formulas, but as you keep reading chapter by chapter, it's important to practice once you are done with remembering these formulas, because if you just remember it, you will forget it after a week. So if you practice it, then you'll understand the concept there, and that will help you in even attempting different types of questions. So understanding the concepts is the important part.
Next up, we have a question from Nitish, and he's asking how to keep calm and manage time during the CAT examination. You were talking about refining time management skills, so I hope you can cover in this question. So the question is like how to keep calm and manage time during the CAT exam, and which portion should be attempted first as a non-engineering student.
Okay. So yeah, you can get a bit nervous during your CAT exams, but if you take enough mock tests before it, say 10 to 20, so you'll get a feel for how much time you need to spend on each question, which types of questions you need to leave, and which type of questions that you need to attempt. Because if you feel that some question is tough and you can do it, but if you have 5 minutes of time, then I would say leaving that question is better than attempting it, because 5 minutes for one question is 3 minutes more than the average time. So in that time, you can use those 5 minutes to find other easy questions in the question pool and get maybe 2 3 questions correct in place of one. But yeah, taking more mock tests will really help you on how to split your time throughout the section so that you get most out of it.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a question which most of the students are confused about. Pranit, did you prepare notes while preparing for the CAT examination?
Notes, huh?
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
No.
But still, can you just guide us on note making strategy? Because
Yeah,
the moment we start revision, we are not, we are not guided to just go through our whole books or something like that. We are
right.
being asked to just go through our notes. So, how our notes should be?
The easiest section to answer this is maths. So maths will have all the formulas in your notes. And for logical reasoning, you can logical reasoning. It's small concepts for each section, but the questions really takes those concepts to the next level. But you can note those concepts down. Say if it's a circular arrangement, you can draw the circular arrangement and note the related concepts below that, so that when you have to revise it, it becomes easy. And for English, for reading comprehension, note making, I'm not sure how to do that. But reading comprehension is like reading is a skill that as you keep reading, once you get it, it won't easily go away. So you don't really have to make notes for verbal, I feel.
Praneeth, just preparing for CAT examination, will that help us to clear other MBA examinations like XAT, SNAP, GMAT?
Yeah, it does. Because CAT is one of the most difficult tests, right? So, and all these other exams will also have the same sections. So preparing for this at the extensive level that it makes life easy for when you're trying to crack the other tests as well. If not completely, it helps for major part.
Praneeth, based on your experience, we would like to know what was your strategy to attempt PYQs or the mocks,
What is PYQ?
previous year question paper or the mocks.
Okay. I started preparing, say, not exactly preparing, but I started taking mock tests from start of the year itself. So I used to take a mock test every 2 weeks, and I was attending classes. So that I did till October. And when it came to November, I took mock tests more frequently, say once in every 2 3 days. And as it got closer and closer, and I got to know my exam timing, so then I took a mock test every day in the same time slot that I am supposed to write my test, so that I get habituated to the habit of, say, either waking up early or sitting during that time period, say 9 to 12. It's not really a great time period for most of us, right? Since that breakfast time and everything. So it gets, it makes you more comfortable to sit for those 2 hours. Yeah, that's the my strategy for mock test. But once I took a when I take a mock test, I make sure to revise it the after, like, for the rest of the day, so that I learn from my mistakes and don't repeat those again, because that really helps you in taking your score further.
Praneeth, if based on my observation or I have observed the students, we know that while we just prepping up for the CAT examination, for today's session, let's say for the CAT examination, we feel a sense of uneasiness in the exam hall or while giving exam, let's say online or offline. How have you prepared yourself in the last month to be ready mentally and physically to give examination, which
Yeah,
itself is very exhaustive?
correct, correct. So as I was telling, right, I made like before the last month, I took 10 mock tests, more than 10. And in the last month itself, I took 10. So taking this mock test every day makes you more comfortable to the idea of an exam. And when the actual exam comes, you have to understand that this is just another mock test for you. So if you go with that mindset, the nervousness really comes down a lot.
So, Praneeth, if you could just answer a few more questions. What skills are MBA colleges looking for?
Yeah. So since CAT is all about your intellectual ability, that is one thing they look for. And the even the part of the admissions process, they look at your 10th marks or inter marks or BTech marks. So they also look for your academic excellence. CAT also is also about, managing time and your ability to perform under pressure. So these are the two things. And coming to the interview process, we'll have the VAT, which is the essay writing. So they look for your writing skills as well. If you are able to comprehend and put your thoughts in limited amount of time in on a particular topic, since that is important for an MBA graduate. If you go into consulting or anything, you have to be on the fly and perform, right? And the final thing is what they test in interviews is your communication skills and your knowledge on the world around you, current affairs. and also your work experience and what you have done that is significant in your work experience.
Okay. Praneeth, what according to you in your list, you feel that you could have known before that could have made your performance better in the examination? There are some pointers.
Can you repeat that?
My question to you is, do you feel sometimes that maybe like you could have more knowledge of something which is not know, what not known to you when you were preparing for the CAT examination? You feel that I wish I was aware of this thing, I would have performed better, something like that.
uh, the one thing for me is I only started reading things in the last 2 3 months to improve my English. But if I knew it was going to be that hard, I would have started reading books or articles, say 1 year before itself, so that my reading ability would have been a lot better than what it was. Because even
Okay.
though I scored 100 overall, my English was only 95.
So still you scored 95, which is I would say a very nice score in CAT examination. So what you did to score that good in English, because you were not confident
Yeah,
in,
I wasn't.
so how you just overcome that?
Yeah, so first of all, my mentor helped me a lot, and also this improving your reading speed and your ability to grasp, right? So those two things, and finding out what strategy works for you the better in reading comprehension, because verbal, the most scoring part is reading comprehension itself. So some people attend reading comprehensions in this way. Say they read the passage first, completely understand it, and then attempt the questions. The other strategy is you skim through the paragraph, see, just get an idea of what it is talking about and which area is talking about what aspect. Then you read the question and get back to that part where this question is addressing, and then read it again so that you find your answer. So these are two different strategies, and one works for some people and other works for others. So figuring out what works best for you is also important part of your preparation. And yeah, once you get the reading speed, the practice helps. So it's
Yes,
combination of these three things.
combination of these three things. Very well said, Praneeth. So Praneeth, what is the kind of jobs that would come to a MBA candidate that would not be open to other graduates?
So the common jobs that comes to the IIMs or any MBA colleges are consulting jobs, product management jobs, and marketing, finance, general management. These are the very common jobs that come, and there are other uncommon jobs as well. And there is no such thing as these jobs only hire from these schools. Say you just graduated from your BTech and you went to MBA, got a consulting job because you did your MBA. Say there is another person who graduated, worked for 5 years in minor roles, say analyst, and then and grew in the business domain. So even he can get those jobs, but it's just that it takes more time for them rather than just 2 years of MBA for you. So that is the only difference, and there is no such thing as they hire only from MBA. It depends on your skill set.
Praneeth, Vinita wants to ask you topic which we must not leave.
Uh,
Should I repeat? She is asking topics we must not leave.
Topic or section?
Topic
With
she is asking.
topic. Okay.
Like, let's say in verbal ability,
Yeah,
which are the important topics?
got it, got it. So verbal, there is no topic. Sometimes the passage, like each passage comes from a different topic. They won't repeat it, and they refine that as well. Sometimes the passage will be on science, arts, language. Sometimes this art or language can be replaced with psychology. So you have for verbal you have to make sure you do everything. But for maths, I think topics such as arithmetic, algebra, geometry, these things carry more weightage than the other sections. So if you are short on time, you can concentrate on those first. Yeah, but my knowledge is not very updated as well since I took the test in 2017. I would also like take my advice, but I would also say Google it once to see which sections are carrying more weightage in the recent years, so that you can prioritize based on that.
It's always important to research yourself and just check it, because a lot of details are available online. I can see a question here. Harshit Kailas has this question: how many questions to attempt in every section?
So there is no required number. I would say in the 40 minutes, whatever you can get, like whatever is the maximum you can get, go for the maximum. But also before that, you have to attempt this many because sometimes the section might be too tough and you don't say if the previous year you needed to attempt 20, sorry, it's only 20, right? You needed to attempt say 10 or 15 in the previous year, but if this year that particular section becomes a lot tougher, you don't have to attempt that many to get a good score. You can still get a good score with less attempts. So I would say go with a open mind and make sure you read all the questions in those 40 minutes. Like, not when I say read, I don't mean spend 10 minutes on reading everything and then start doing. That's not what I mean. What I mean is go question by question. If you think the question is easy, do it, then move on. If you think you don't know the question, leave it straight away. Don't even waste a second on it. And there are some questions that when you read, you know that you will have to spend more time than required. So I would suggest leave them as well. And finally, the important thing, there will be some questions you might feel you can do it fast, but once you spend some time, say 30 seconds or a minute on it, then you might realize that this will take a lot more time than I thought. So in those cases, your psychology won't you would want you to finish that since you started, but I would say get out of it and know that it's okay to leave those questions even if you have spent some time on it, because it's important to leave enough time to see all the questions, because if you miss reading some questions which might be easy, then that's a lost opportunity.
Praneet, so I'm taking the last question for this session and then I'll be winding up this session for today.
Yeah.
So we have a question: which one to focus on more, rank or college?
Rank or
College.
college ranks, you mean?
No, no. The question is like, should I focus on rank, like the rank of the student, or should I focus on which college to opt for?
Rank in a sense, you mean percentile, right?
Yeah, they mean percentile only.
Uh, I don't necessarily understand the question, but what I understand is, uh, like what I understood is that if they're asking if they should go for IIMA because it's the first ranked university, or if they should go for other college because it suits their needs better. If that is the case, if you're clear that a particular college suits your needs better, I would say go for that particular college. It's the rank will help in some aspects, but once you go there and you don't get along with that culture or things like that, it doesn't really help you. If you think a particular college is a perfect fit for you, then definitely go for that.
Now it's time to wrap up our session for today. So today we understood, I would say, the toppers preparation strategy and tips, and best preparation books for verbal ability, logical reasoning, and quant section. And also we had a very well guidance on how to prepare for each section. And Praneeth also talked about important changes in CAT examination over the years. He also guided us on time management And he also shared some do's and don'ts and some tips and tricks to perform well in this CAT examination. And thank you, Praneeth, for guiding us well and answering all our queries.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, viewers, for raising such relevant questions. And with this, I'm Shilpa signing off. Till then, take care and keep checking Shiksha website for more information. Website is www.shiksha.com. And thank you, everyone.
Yeah, good luck, everyone.
Yes, all the very best.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.